been a while since we had a really good survival horror game. Maybe we had a couple gems here and there in the last couple of years, mainly carried by the Resident Evil franchise. But for me, the new Dead Space remake was a very fresh breath of air because this game is just amazing on every front. And it is a remake of the game that came out, I think, over a decade ago. And this one really changes a lot of things for the game. I saw a couple gameplay videos, and it is just absolutely incredible. I mean, the graphics comparison from that old game to this one is just amazing, and it is considered a cult classic, so I really wanted to play this. And it was very similar to another game that came out recently, the Callisto Protocol, but I feel like this one has much more fun in a lot of ways. The combat, everything, and I'm just really excited to review this because the game was really good and it was just completely unexpected how much I liked it. So yeah, like I said before, the 2023 Dead Space is a remake and it really introduces a lot of really awesome concepts we've seen in other survival horror games. But this one takes place in deep space, something that we've seen a couple times, mainly just Callisto Protocol and the other Dead Space entries. But I feel like this one really sets the new standard for survival horror. I mean, this game is just terrifying from beginning to end, and the setting that it has, like with the claustrophobic halls, the way the characters interact with the environment, the way the monsters have to be defeated in very specific ways in order to kill them effectively, it was just amazing. I mean, I played the game in hard mode, and it really forces you, at least in the beginning, and I'll get to more to that later. But I feel like the game is really starkly divided into parts. But in the first part, it's just all survival horror. I mean, you get a few weapons here and there, but you have to really manage your ammo. You have to be really careful not to get killed by these enemies because it's really important to be smart in the first half of the game. The second one is more like action, but I feel like the way the survival horror elements are done in the first half is really well done. And also the game is really terrifying. So here you play as Isaac, who is, a member of a crew who go into this ship called the Ishimura, which is basically massive, by the way. I didn't expect the map to be as big as it was, but it basically is exploring a new planet and it gets invaded by these horrifying creatures which start infecting the whole crew, turning them into these like zombie monsters with giant like legs and arms called necromorphs. And they were just terrifying. In the beginning, I couldn't believe how scary it was to just navigate the halls of the Ishimura, getting like basically killed by these creatures all the time. But at the end, you get introduced to many more variations of these enemies. You get like these little babies who throw like darts at you, and those were absolutely terrifying the first time I encountered them. You get these like dog creatures who with a tail that throws spikes at you, some that explode, some large ones, and it's just like crazy the design of these enemies. I think they were absolutely terrifying. Reminded me of Resident Evil in a lot of ways, but also with its own unique touch that takes you to deep space fighting these alien creatures. Like I said before, the gameplay has a lot to do with, classic survival horror, just defeating enemies, managing your ammo, and managing resources, which is my favorite genre of gaming, and I think it was done really well. I think this game shined in a lot of ways that Callisto Protocol didn't, and basically delivering the things people like the most about survival horror. And then the second half is more like action, it's like you get to a certain point, we have like so much ammo, you don't know what to do with it. You have all the weapons unlocked, all the upgrades unlocked. So you basically just tear through monsters like they're paper. But I don't say it as a bad thing. I feel like the first half is good for survival horror. I feel like the second half is just more, fun, basically in the final, especially the final chapter, which is just basically annihilating enemies left and right, facing the final boss. It does a lot of things right in that regard, so I don't really have any complaints about the action department of Dead Space, but I feel like everything in this game works really well from beginning to end. The graphics and gameplay are really good. I feel like this is one of the first few games that truly feels like a PS5 Xbox Series generation. I mean, they're like the graphics, sometimes you can see like reflections on Isaac's helmet that work really well and just show how amazing the graphics are in this new generation of gaming. I feel like when the first time I saw that, I was like, wow, they really put a lot of effort into the graphics in this game. And it really makes me happy that you finally start seeing these upgrades in the new generation. And with the gameplay, I feel like it was really good. It forces you to choose, like, it makes some really hard choices in regards to weapons, to upgrades. So if you like survival horror, if you like, feeling like you're in actual danger in this game, you'll love Dead Space. That's something I really liked, and something I really want to see more in like this year of survival horror that we're gonna get next year. So basically, there's a lot to love gameplay wise, graphics wise, but the narrative is also good. So basically, I feel like Dead Space is a perfect mix of like cult horror and also science fiction, alien horror. It just like balances a lot of elements. And if you play the game, I'll get into light spoilers, but if you play the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like there's this cult that it starts you started like investigating and finding these documents that reveal what really happened in the Ishimura, like related to an ancient device that makes people mad, and how it relates to the necromorphs, to the aliens, and basically the overall plot of the humanity, that what they wanted to actually do, and the planet you fly over with the Ishimura. And I feel like everything works really well. Especially, I feel like Isaac's role will be explored better if in Dead Space 2 if they remake it. But I'm really excited. I feel like if it takes too long, I'll actually play the original Dead Space 2 because the story kept me very engaged. So if you like a good story, you'll enjoy Dead Space 2. If you like science fiction, like these kinds of stories, it's a really good game. But yeah, I had a very intense time with it. I played the crap out of it. I really got scared, and I feel like Dead Space is just a great like adventure experience for anyone who likes these kind of games. So I think those are pretty much all my thoughts. I'll give Dead Space an 88 out of 100. I think it's really worth it, and I never expected it to be this good after Callisto Protocol. I thought it was fine. It was a great game, but this one just blows it out of the park. Like it just really engages you in a very impressive way. So anyways, I think those are all my thoughts for this video. And if you like this video, please go play Dead Space and follow me on all my social media. So anyways, that's everything for today, and I'll see you around.